Alright, so I'm basically having to re-record this video because I realized that I can cut it up into segments originally from Anchor, but in the video form, I'm gonna have to do the video all at once and then cut that up into segments. So I basically was just talking about the fact that I'm switching the podcast name from The Ride Home to The Road to Success, and why. So the reason why I'm changing it is because from a philosophical level, it's going to be less about obviously commuting and just an everyday podcast to more of a podcast that's just going to follow me in terms of my situation, thoughts, different key ideas from now to where my success will be hit. And that's whether it's a year, 2 years, 6 months from now. It's going to pretty much follow the same direction. Now I'm going to upload other videos and other podcasts that aren't going to be focusing on the road to success. They'll be about other things, especially with like my roommate and whatnot. I'll get him on definitely a couple of podcasts that we want to end up recording. That's going to be on completely different topics and subjects. But yeah, so that's basically the reason why I'm switching it up, is because it's focused on me and my situation and becoming a success in my definition of the word, which is obviously different than probably many other people's definition. But the success is to the point where not only am I doing successful financially, but in terms of I also have that kind of financial freedom in place, so where I can kind of do what I want on my own accord. And alright, so first things first, we'll jump off right into the first little segment. Just gonna be talking about my current situation, where I'm at right now. And so my current situation is kind of been a lot of change within the last month or two. I've now moved in fully into my apartment here with my two roommates in Jersey City. As well as I left my job at the Best Buy in Riverdale, kind of making that transfer to the other store in Jersey City. Transfer's honestly not going very well, so I've had interviews now with these two companies that I'm looking at that, to be honest with you, my next offer is going to be taken. Now it's going to be up to whatever of those two companies I want to go with, but that's going to be where I see myself going after this whole transfer ordeal kind of went south and went sour. And to be honest, that kind of puts me at a spot right now where I'm in that transition period, so I don't quite have the income coming in through a paycheck every week that I want, or every 2 weeks that I want, but it's a matter of doing the steps necessary for me to end up, even if I'm not getting a paycheck, which could be $700 from Best Buy, doing what I need to get that paycheck that's $1,400 or $1,500 every single day, or every single 2 weeks from another job. And so that's why, for the last 2 weeks now, I've just been on the phone with recruiters, on the phone on interviews. I've been dealing with the actual applications and the writing assignments that I've had to do, which was an interesting one. I had to do a writing assignment for my last basically step in the application interview process for one of the companies I was applying for. But yeah, so that's where I'm at there. So it's kind of tough. I'm at the point where now, I'm not spending a lot of money. It's not like I can just go out, and if I have to get food, it's not a matter of me going out and, okay, we're going to go out and get drinks, I'm going to get a meal at the bar. Like, that's no longer a realistic idea of what I can do right now. It's more of, hey, well, let me go to ShopRite, let me load up on eggs, bread, milk, cheese, chicken, pasta, as much of that stuff that I could load up onto, and then like lettuce for salads and stuff like that. So I can keep my food costs to a minimum. Because, I mean, to be honest, I'm trying to keep all my costs to the minimum, so it's a matter of keeping the food down, keeping the transportation down. Now, I've been taking those Lime electric scooters around a lot, so that's going to be something that I definitely can't do as much when I know I can walk, but definitely taking it in replacement of like a bus or a light rail or a train that I would need to end up taking. So that's another thing that I'm trying to do, and then basically cutting down my extra, I mean, just the lifestyle costs. Because right now, in terms of clothing, there's no real clothing that I have to go out and buy anytime soon. I have that kind of set up, as well as the fact that, I mean, I'm trying to even think right now. Everything else is pretty much in order. I mean, I'm not gonna end up going out and doing things like, I'm gonna probably try to cut myself down to maybe once a month or once a week, being able to do something that I really want to do. So this last week on Thursday, I mean, we went out, we got some drinks from ShopRite, and we ended up having a fun night here, which is cool. Tomorrow night, I mean, $17 or whatever, I'm going to a Yankee game. Now, obviously, I'm going to end up drinking beforehand, and so I don't have to spend any money on drinks at the stadium. Food will be interesting. I'm gonna do whatever I can to keep that to a minimum. But I mean, $20 a month, like a week, on fun stuff like that. Like that's, you kind of need that just in order to kind of balance yourself out. But yeah, so that's my situation I'm in now. It's kind of rough. I mean, definitely grateful for literally what I have here, which I definitely would see a lot of people not being as grateful for. But hey, it's a process. It's a short-term kind of situation that I'm in, so it's not something that I expect to be in for a while. And as you can tell, according to the name of this, I mean, podcast, it's something that's I want to change. I mean, just by doing what I'm doing every single day. So alright, so that's basically the situation I'm in. I'm not trading right now. I had the Jersey City job at the Best Buy, but it's not, I mean, I expect myself to be out of there in 2 weeks, going on to a new job. And so hopefully with that new job, I mean, once a new job is achieved, everything's going to start to change a little bit, because my check is going to end up being higher, so I'm going to be able to support certain other things, but it's really going to go a lot into this trading and into the podcasting as well. So that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to try to get as soon as possible. But yeah, so that's the current situation, and then I'm totally just going to give you guys updates about how things change, and about if, let's say, you're in the same situation that I am, try to, I mean, you can give me comments or tips or hints in terms of what I can do to kind of help the situation I'm in now, whether it's being aware of certain other things I can do for side hustles or for keeping spending in check and stuff like that. So I'm going to stop that there, and then we're going to dive into Twitter, see what we got going on at Twitter. Alright, so we'll end that there. Now, let's see if we can go into Twitter, see what we got here. Alright, so what do we have in Twitter here? We got Diplo. Diplo, honestly, only people who know me pretty well is going to know what Twitter account that is. Honestly, love it. Like to favorite and like any of the shit he puts out anytime soon. Let's see, we got Tom McDonald. Let's see, who do we have? Kind of quiet here. Now if we go to Twitter moments, we could, oh wow, I just saw a video of John Ledger dancing around. John Ledger, the CEO of T-Mobile and possibly Sprint. And so, big news today. I mean, we got PK Subban coming, a New Jersey Devil. We got my roommate texted us earlier. He was like, rivalry's back on. We got Rangers, Devils. Gonna be a good one this season, hopefully. Hopefully, I mean, I'm pulling for somebody to come over to Brooklyn, too. One of the big free agents this year. Kind of get Brooklyn competitive again. See if we can get New York sports. It's kind of... I mean, you got the Yankees this year who are on a tear. Hopefully you can get probably the Jets instead of the Giants back on the track into the playoffs, and then hopefully we can get the freaking Knicks or Nets competitive this year. That'd be pretty cool. Alright, so PK Subban, what else we got here? Let's see. Stupid stuff. Meryl Streep celebrates her 40th birthday. Good for you. I don't give a shit. What else we got? Hurricanes acquire Patrick Marleau from the Maple Leafs. Alright. UConn could be going back to the Big East. We got pretty much nothing else. That's a pretty quiet Twitter moments today. And if we keep going back down my my feed here, let's see what we got. Lauren Jen, Stefan. Oh, we had some funny stuff that I was looking at before. Let's see. Oof. We got a guy, Ryan Whitney, tweeted a picture when you sit next to someone who could be drafted any second. You can't be knuckle deep picking a winner. That's hilarious. Alright, for the people that are watching the video version, we'll try to get you a look at that. That's kind of funny. Alright. That was kind of tough to do. Now let's see what we got here. Yeah, everything else seems pretty quiet. Twitter's not doing much today. I mean, we did have an Associated Press number come out. Trump says dealing planned operation to remove immigrants illegally in the United States. Okay, don't really care about for politics right now, even though that's what you see a lot. Alright, so we got more politics. Jesus Christ, this fucking thing, all it has is politics on here. Let's see what we got. Alright, so it's not that much in terms of Twitter. Might wrap up the Twitter segment, or at least transition it over to something else. Kind of want to, let's transition it over towards trading. So this is something that, I mean, I fucking love. I fucking spend probably 20 hours a week looking at this shit anyway. So if we go into trading and just in terms of economic thoughts, holy shit, this is going to be interesting. We got G20 coming up this week. We got whatever fuck happens with the US and Iran. That should be interesting in terms of on the economic picture, because you can be messing with the crude oil markets, especially if you're messing with the crude oil markets and you do see demand start to slip in terms of global growth and the demand for crude oil slip, that's going to send those oil prices up pretty quickly, which is going to support a falling dollar, which is going to support rising gold prices, especially if we have any geopolitical tension. You're going to see gold go higher. I have a position in gold. I'm recommending positions in gold. That is something that, I mean, I would not have recommended for the last 10, literally since I started following this shit for the last like 6 or 7 years. I wouldn't have recommended gold, but now I'm saying you got it. I mean, I was harping on it for the last month or two. What we've seen in the bond market recently, especially, is honestly not a good signal. You're seeing bond yields dive right through the fucking ground. You're seeing a bunch of shit happen, whether it's the bond yields, whether it's obviously gold coming up. You have the markets like pretty much at fucking all-time highs, which, to be honest, according to some people, is based off the Fed going to be cutting interest rates. Like, you might see as much as a 50 basis point cut in July. That seems a little crazy for me. If you do see a 50 basis point cut in July, I mean, maybe the market see that as positive, but like that's not. I mean, you have the inflation story, which honestly I think is bullshit. I'll speak on that for, I mean, podcasts to come. I fucking hate the way that inflation is recorded in our country and how we interpret inflation to come up with certain monetary and fiscal policy is absolutely insane. Like, what we've seen in terms of technological advancements, I don't think is any way projected into those inflation statistics. Like, if you were to if you want to come up with inflation, which we already get rid of, what the fuck do we get? We've got rid of gas, food, like, take out technological advances. Boom. You're going to see inflation numbers come up big time because of the fact that what I'm doing right now doesn't cost me a fucking dime. In order for me to do this 10 years ago, I got to pay for a camera or something like that, a microphone that's going to allow me to create all of this in an adequate way. I got to pay for, I mean, maybe software in order to upload this stuff. I gotta pay someone to create the fucking podcast. I mean, I have a spot in which I can get a constant data feed about a bunch of different shit literally instantly without having to pay a fucking newspaper fee or whatever, without having to watch TV and get it that way. Like, the amount of shit that I do today that 10, 20 years ago, like, it's beyond crazy for me to think that we're actually still using economic indicators in 2019 that are the same economic indicators we were using in 1919. Like, shit's changed. Like, things have changed. You gotta kind of change with it in terms of your economic theory. Now, there's people out there that agree in the modern monetary theory. That shit's bullshit. That you can literally spend as much as you want because of the fact that we have the demand. Like, we could sell out, which is fair. I mean, we could sell out U.S. government bonds and just put a shit ton of supply out there because of the fact that our prices are just going, like, people are buying up U.S. bonds like there's no one's business because we're honestly in a better position than anybody else in this world right now. But I don't know about that. Like, it's going to come back to hurt you. Our monetary base is fucking ridiculous. Our fiscal debt issue is a big problem, which I don't think people see coming. God forbid you have, like, you get yield prices to get to the point where they no longer become sustainable. I mean, I don't think we're going to get the big blow up this time. I think it'll be similar to maybe 2008, 2009, even if we have, like, that kind of financial crisis. We're just going to cut way into fucking negative rates. And we're going to have central banks buying up shit left and right. Like, we'll be fine. I don't think this is the big change. But we're going to get to a point where, I mean, we've got debt bubbles that are going to be popping up everywhere. The Fed cuts by 50 basis points right now. You're telling me that's not going to pump up asset prices? Like, if you get asset prices to fucking bubble up just because we're cutting like crazy, that ain't a good sign. I don't think asset prices are going to just go straight north. Like, it doesn't make sense that they would. They could. I'm not saying that they know everything, but that is something that you'll see there, as well as the fact that you do have this crazy notion that, I mean, the United States can pay all of its liabilities. Our Social Security is going bankrupt. Medicare is going bankrupt. Like, we have no plan. We literally have no idea what we're going to do when that happens. Like, we can go into an austerity measure where we're cutting programs like crazy in order to get back to where we were, but I don't know if that really is going to make sense, and whoever has to implement that politically is fucked. it's going to be over for them, because that's not going to be a good political news to take. And the thing with politics is we're going to run into some issues. Now, again, I'm not going to go into this all now because it's useful for another time, but this US-China trade war is a trade war. Like, it's an economic war that's against the two countries. And people are thinking, oh, there's going to be a truce at G20 next week. That is hilarious. Like, we are so far apart. Like, the number one things that the Chinese want, the Chinese are like, okay, well, we're going to come out to a trade, but we need a guarantee that you're going to drop all tariffs against us immediately. The U.S. is like, I mean, no. We implemented them for a reason. And then the U.S. is like, we need to have a verification process in this trade deal that allows us to do what we want. So if we create a set of boundaries, like, let's say both tariffs go to zero, but let's say the intellectual property theft debate keeps going. It's like, you got to stop the intellectual property theft, and if we believe that it's not being enforced correctly or you're violating it, boom, trade deals broke. We're allowed to put, maybe not trade deals broke, but we're allowed to put our tariffs back on. And China's like, hell no, we're not going to agree to that, because they're probably saying, oh, you're going to lie and just say that we stole intellectual property anyway, and you're going to just add tariffs, and that's not fair. Like, there's gotta be some compromise there. But honestly, Trump's not going to go for a compromise. There's people out there, I mean, to be honest, like, I myself, I honestly don't know if he should compromise that much. Like, in terms of the way the tariffs go, like, I do think that tariffs are a relatively good idea in terms of, we need to let China know that they can't get away with what they've been getting away with for the last 20 years. Honestly, the last 10 years, 15. But if the tariffs is the way to do it, the tariffs are the way to do it. Like, we're going to get to a point of no return where we can't have this war against them anymore. And here's the thing is, they, especially Hong Kong, but China as well, they're incredibly levered. So they have any kind of issues with their growth losing. Like, they have the Communist Party that's in there, and President Xi's literally has a lifetime appointment. Can't say he's a dictator, but he's literally ruling for life. Like, I don't know how else you put that. And this Chinese state controls everything. So I just, they don't really have the political pressure that we do, unless you see mass riots, which the Hong Kong protests are a little interesting. Especially if you see Chinese banks start to fail, like you did see that regional Chinese bank fail the other week. But we'll go into this much more later on. I'm going to wrap this up, this segment, and then we're going to just pop right into our last segment of the day. That's going to be basically the discipline segment, and it's just going to be key in terms of discipline as a concept and discipline going forward. We'll explain more of it once we get to the next segment. All right, so let's see what we got here. We'll stop that, and then we'll record. All right, so discipline. How would we define discipline for anybody listening or watching out there? Let's see. So we are looking at the Google definition for discipline. We'll go to the Merriam-Webster definition. It is control gained by enforcing obedience or order. Okay, not really what I was looking for. Orderly or prescribed conduct or pattern of behavior. That's better. Self-control they have there. Alright, what was the Google definition here? Looking at the practice of training people to obey rules or code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. No, not what I'm looking for. A branch of knowledge, typically one studied in higher education. No, train someone to obey rules. I mean, here's the thing, is discipline, it is correct in terms of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior, but my definition for discipline that I would support is in terms of being able to follow rules that either you set for yourself, that's what I would be coming from, a set of rules that you follow yourself, and you have the discipline to not break. If you do break those rules, now this is where I do agree. I think that there should be some kind of penalty enforced when you break your rules or whatever path that you have set out for you. And that could be a small discipline, a small penalty, could be a large penalty. Depends how crazy or how serious you want to get with the discipline. But that's so key. I was just talking to my roommate about this the other day. Discipline in terms of success, just where this all comes back to the road to success. Discipline is essential because if you think that you're going to be successful at some time in your life or at some point, it's not going to come without being disciplined. So discipline can be wide-ranging in terms of your life. You could be looking at it from a monetary spot. So let's say you're financially disciplined, so you have $1,000 a week that you're getting paid. You shouldn't be spending over $1,000. You shouldn't be spending probably over $900. If you're making $1,000, I wouldn't be spending over $900. I wouldn't be spending over $1,000. Period. Now, you could get away with it. Now, there's certain things where you can get away with spending $1,000 and getting paid $1,000, especially if you have to. So let's say you have a family, or you have a kid, or you have a dependent that you're taking care of. Sometimes there's no option. You have to spend what you get in. But you got to spend that wisely. So if it's a matter of you have $1,000 to spend, don't fucking spend $200 on going out and entertainment. No. We should be talking about consumer staples. So we should be talking about food, shelter, rent, mortgage, clothing. Then we're talking about communication. I think communication is key. So whether that is, I do think there's a certain aspect where you need to spend your money on your communication services. So your internet that you get in your house, your phone. Those are two big things you got to pay for. I completely understand. Now, you can get it. You don't have to buy a flagship phone. I'm recording this off of a Pixel 2 regular phone that came out almost a year and a half ago. And granted, I'm spending a decent amount on it, but I don't see myself. I might not even go flagship on my next phone. Why the fuck do I need to? And then you're going to be looking at transportation and then getting that work. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, you do obviously have to have some of your money in terms of to give yourself a little bit of a balance on doing what you like. So doing what you like could be working. Doing what you like could be hanging out with your kid. Doing what you like could be hanging out with friends. But it's got to be a net positive in terms of what you're spending it on. I wouldn't just spend money to go out drinking with yourself, or I wouldn't spend money just for the sake of spending money on something that you're not going to use, or you're not going to get an advantage of, you're not going to make a memory on. Like, there's a reason for everything that you spend. And even removing it from the financial discipline aspect, we could be looking at